Dev Insight, Renegades Abilities Tuning Preview. This one is focused on player abilities, specifically buffing player abilities. Below you will find dozens of juicy ability buffs, a handful of PvP only nerfs, and one solitary PvE nerf. There are a lot of changes here, so to avoid this turning into a novel, we're going to keep the commentary light and let the changes speak for themselves. In addition to these changes, we have more exciting ability changes planned for the Shadow and Order release. Okay, enough preamble. Let's start with Hunter changes. Bungie always start with Hunters. You know that? You know they do that on purpose, right? All right, Hunter. Our friend Crow asked us to say thank you to all the hunters out there providing feedback about hunter in-game viability. We hear you loud and clear. Of the 3 Guardian classes, hunters have the most ability changes coming in Renegades, with more on the way in future releases. Okay, all right. Solar Gunslinger. Our Gunslinger changes are primarily focused on making Gunslinger damage more impressive. Gunslingers typically need to be precise with their abilities, so they deserve a devastating payoff when they hit their mark. So Golden Gun, Deadshot, and 6-shooter increase damage against non-boss combatants by 15%. Increase damage against boss combatants by 26%. Oh, damn it, Still Hunt's also getting a buff. Note, this change removes the disparity between boss damage and non-boss damage. Golden Gun projectiles now scorches targets. 40 stacks base plus 10 with increased stacks fragments. When fired inside of a well of radiance, Golden Gun now counts as radiant for increased damage. So you don't have to step outside. You know this should be transferring the Still Hunt. Blade Barrage Super. Increased damage against combatants by 39%. Proximity Explosive Knife, Weighted Knife, Lightweight Knife, Knife Trick. Increased damage against red bar enemies by 50%. Good God. Increased damage against other enemies by 36%. Lightweight Knife. Increased crit multiplier from 1.3 to 1.5. Acrobat's Dodge class ability increased passive energy regeneration rate in PvE by 112%. Note, cooldown now matches Gambler's Dodge. This change allows you to buff your fire team more often. Good lord. Gunpowder Gamble aspect. Shooting the dynamite in midair now increases damage by 50%, 5% in PvP, expands the radius, and creates sub-munitions. Holy shit. Bungie, you know power creep is a thing, right? Fuck it, I guess we ride. Void Night Stalker. The changes to Night Stalker in this release are mostly centered on the Shadow Shot supers. We want Deadfall to be the best choice for weakening beefy targets, while making Mobius Quiver a top-tier damage choice. We are actively working on additional neutral game Night Stalker changes that we intend to release in Shadow and Order. In the general ability section below, you will find some changes to Void Fragments that will benefit Night Stalker in the meantime. So Shadow Shot Deadfall Super. The tether source now attaches to combatants on direct impact. Increased weaken effect from 30 to 35%. Note, Deadfall Tether is now the strongest weaken in the game. Yes, it is. Hunters, you now have a job. We fired you. Edge of Fate, DP, you couldn't handle it. That's a Warlock Titan job right there. And more emphasis on the Titan job. But you've now been rehired. It now immediately weakens and suppresses enemies in an area of effect on impact. Let me just say this. I've read the same statement so many times from Bungie. Bungie, I will believe it when I see it. The term immediately doesn't stop the Guardian from punching me in the face mid-tether and killing my ass. I want to know how immediate. I want to be able to pull the bow back and it immediately suppresses at the point of pullback. Shadow Shot, Mobius Quiver Super. While the super is active, dealing damage now increases the power of subsequent Shadow Shot attacks and bow weapons. Note, this puts a bar on your screen that charges as you deal damage. When charged, your final shots or final 2 shots with Orpheus Rig deals significantly increased damage, turning it into one of the highest damage supers in the game. 227% max. Y'all remember when we had those artifact mods way back when, which made Mobius Quiver Shadow Shot with Orpheus so deadly? Y'all remember that? It chunked, man. It did so much damage. Okay, increase base super duration from 10 seconds to 16 seconds. Increase Orpheus rig duration from 16 to 20 seconds. So look at that, boys. You're going to be able to hit harder, last longer, and suppress sooner. Smoke Bomb Melee. Increase projectile lifetime after sticking to a surface from 3 seconds to 9 seconds. Reduce lingering smoke time in PvP from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. Reduce screen effect intensity and duration while in enemy smoke. Reduce damage against players by 16%. Note, after seeing how the previous smoke bomb changes landed in PvP, we're shifting smoke bomb back to being more of a misdirection tool than a damage tool. Being hit directly with an enemy smoke will be less frustrating as a victim, while allowing it to be more effective, trap decoy as the user. Let me tell you something. You hunters out there that win all your 1v1s because of smoking. That's it, man. All you know how to do is throw a smoke. And let me just say, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. Pretty much, if you've been smoked in the face, you just kind of shoot all over the place. Some people just stand still and die. Arc Strider. The Arc Strider changes are light this time around. Moving forward, we'll be looking for opportunities to diversify the number of Arc Strider builds that feel powerful in-game content. So Storm's Edge Super, passive energy and regeneration increased by 25%. Tempest Strike aspect, reduced damage against players by 16%. Boys, it needed to happen. It needed to happen. You fuckers were getting too many free kills. Not to piss me off more than going around a corner and watching your wave of lightning come around and somehow clean me up. No, that's a good thing. And you get your super more often. I will say this though, Bungie, if you would just code some bosses like Greg to where reflecting damage back to them was the meta, just throwing it out there, man. All right, Stasis Revenants. We have 2 Revenant changes for you this time around, but they're impactful ones. Shatter Dive aspect. Shattering Stasis crystals or enemies now grants Froststorm. Note, any shatter grants full stacks in PvE and 2 stacks in PvP. What the shit? Any shatter. If I'm understanding this correctly, you could have a headstone weapon, pop a crystal, shatter that, and you got full stacks of Frost Armor. Silence and Squall Super increases damage against combatants by 63%. Very nice. I'm gonna be honest, I mainly only use a super for lockdown. I'll take more damage, sure. All right, Shred. Did I just say Shred? Strand. Thread Runner. Our Thread Runner changes are focused on increasing team play potential with Widow Silk and making Silk Strike more durable. So Widow Silk aspect, looking at a grapple tangle for a short time now overrides your grenade ability with a free non-offensive grapple. Note, this allows you to give grapple capabilities to fellow guardians who don't have strand or grapple equipped. Also works for the Navigator exotic trace rifle. Grapple tangles created near the ground now rise into the air shortly after creation. Grapple tangles base lifetime increase from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. Hitting an enemy with the grapple melee that wasn't free now creates a grapple tangle. My God, this is just the base. Silk Strike Super, increased passive energy regeneration by 11%. Okay. Increased damage resistance during Super by 13%. All right. Now, all Hunter subclasses. Here we have Marksman's Dodge ammo pickup buff to make it more consistent and a PvP-only Gambler's Dodge nerf aimed at lowering ability spam and Hunter dominance in the Crucible. Looking at the data, Gambler's Dodge has doubled the usage of Marksman's Dodge and has outsized impact on Crucible kills per minute and win rate, meaning you skillless bitches. This is all you be using? Really? Now you gotta get a nerf. Marksman Dodge class ability, increase ammo pickup radius from 10 meters to 15 meters. But Gambler's Dodge class ability in PvP only, reduce melee energy gain from 50 to 35%. All right. I don't know if that's gonna really do much, but okay. All right, that's Hunters. Good buffs, Hunters. Good buffs. That's really good. Warlocks. Solar Dawnblade. The Warlocks Dawnblade changes are focused on Daybreak. For more information about how these interact with the Dawn Core's exotic helmet, see last week's armor tuning preview. So Daybreak Super, increased damage against combatants by 20%. Projectiles now scorch enemies by default. Good. Void Walker. These changes are focused on updating some of the Void Walker supers to be more effective and enhance the gravity manipulation fantasy. Nova Warp Super. Charging the primary attack now pulls enemies toward the Warlock. Increased primary attack damage against combatants by 15%. Dark Blink now releases weakening Seekers. Wow. Damn, you're actually going to want to use the Blink. Nova Bomb Vortex Super now repeatedly pulls enemies toward it during its lifetime. That's good. This is a really good change for Nova War. That's a really nice change. You're going to want to intentionally use the Dark Blink there. Look here, Les. The class you only play all the time, 24/7, 365 for the past 11 years. It's getting a buff. You're going to actually look like you play something with some variety. Arc Stormcaller. Our Stormcaller changes are focused on making Stormcaller Super damage more competitive. So Storm Trance Super. Increase maximum sustained damage bonus from 50% to 65%. Increase landfall jolt duration from 10 seconds to 16 seconds. Dude, we're going to have to do super damage testing. Literally, next week when Renegades launches, we're going to have to do... Because this, with Storm Dancer's Brace, you're going to reach max stacks immediately. Now you're going to have sustained damage also being increased. This might be really, really good. Might be the best damage super in the game. All right, Chaos Reach super. Increased damage against combatants by 20%. Damn, that's hot. Onyx Sentry Aspect no longer blinds the user on creation. Lightning Surge, Prismatic Aspect only. Reduce damage against players by 16%. Good. You skillless bastards. You who've been using Lightning Surge. Let me tell you something. I know I run around with my glaive and my pokey stick, but that requires some level of skill, right? Okay, Stasis, Shadebinder. Winter's Wrath has never been about the damage until now. We've brought up the DPS to make this competitive with other roaming supers. The Frost Pulse adjustment here is a PvP only change to compensate for the fact the Warlock can now move while casting it. More on that below. Winter's Wrath super. Increase shatter wave damage against frozen combatant or frozen targets by 210%. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. Dude, we're already like rolling ultimate content right now, Bungie. We're just gonna breathe on enemies now? Like what? How hard are you gonna make this dungeon? Frost Pulse. Class ability. Reduce player freeze radius from 7.5 meters to 5 meters. Now slows players between 5 meters and 8 meters. So they're reducing the radius, but you can slow outside of that. A skillless ability. It needed to happen. Strand, Broodweaver. This change to Needle Storm is a response to player feedback that is difficult to use against bosses because the needles are often wasted on non-boss targets in the vicinity of the boss. We've updated the needle tracking priority to improve this behavior. So Needle Storm Super, needles now prioritize bosses, mini bosses, and champions over other enemies. Wow. I hope it also means players, because right now, every time I pop that thing inside of PvP, it just goes right past them. My fucking Threadlings, it's like it doesn't even see the Guardian. All right, all Warlock subclasses. These Warlock Rift changes are aimed at making the Warlock less of a sitting duck when they need healing. We're also giving Empowering Rift more love. So Healing Rift and Empowering Rift class ability, Rifts can now be cast while moving at roughly half speed. Increase Rift radius from 3.75 meters to 5 meters. Oh, shit. Okay. One, that is a big girth bump. Massive, massive girth bump. But two, you can cast this while moving. It's half speed. If I'm understanding this correctly, though, you can actually close the gap on another Guardian and, I don't know, pop a Frost Pulse on them with more ease, in theory. It's also going to play into the new exotic, Deimos Effusion. Empowering Rift. Increase melee and grenade recharge rates while standing in an Empowering Rift by 20%. Okay. Okay. Healing Rift and PvP only. Reduce healing rate by 10%. Note, our playtest indicated that allowing the Warlock to move during cast and increasing the rift size made them difficult to deal with. We've taken a light touch with reducing the PvP healing rate and will be monitoring Crucible feedback and data. No, this is a good change, Bungie. It's a smart change. Let me just say this. This is every Warlock. Warlock peeks corner. Shoots. Oh my God. Turns out there's a Guardian over there and they know how to shoot back. Takes a little damage. What does the Warlock do? Throws every ability. Shits everything out. Oh my God. That didn't get a kill. What do? I turn around. I run the other direction. I go behind a corner. I pop a rift and I fucking Fortnite style sit right there and wait for the Guardian to finally push me. That's every Warlock ever. Okay? Every Warlock ever. The difference between Hunters and Warlocks is at least Hunters throw all of their abilities and potentially they have to push at that point. All right, Titans. Solar Sunbreaker. While we're happy to see that Titans are enjoying the return of bonk hammer builds, we also want to incentivize hammer throw skill shots so the ability now does bonus damage at range. So hammer throw melee. Impact damage now increases with range. Note this damage increase is purely additive. The base damage is unchanged. Damn. Okay. All right. Might actually break out that new Titan exotic, that drop with Edge of Fate that nobody uses. Might actually use it. Depends on the damage buff too. And where does it cap? All right, Void Sinnoh. For the Titans out there who enjoy protecting your allies, this one's for you. Your shield will now auto-reload your allies' weapons and grants them overshield. This isn't a full return to the free reload days of old Lunafaction boots. Instead, it will reload all your allies' weapons every 2.5 seconds. What? When using low mag size weapons like rocket launchers, this will require some weapon switching to take full advantage of. Additionally, using this super defensively will now supercharge your shield throw, giving you a big damage payoff for protecting your team. So Sinnoh Shield Super. Standing behind the shield now periodically reloads all weapons every 2.5 seconds. Now grants Void Overshield to allies behind the shield. Damage bonus while behind the shield reduced from 40% to 25%. Damn it, Bungie. We were almost there. God dog it. Blocking attack now extends super lifetime. Oh, shit. So on top of Ursa. Blocking attacks and protecting allies now charges shield throw damage. Note, this puts a bar on your screen that charges as you block attacks and when allies are behind your shield. When charged, your shield throw deals more damage and resets the bar. I mean, you're going to be able to double this up with Ursa. This is what's going to happen. Now, listen, I hate losing this damage buff. But at the same time, it periodically reloading your teammates' weapons, that opens up a lot of things, fellas. A lot of things, man. It may be back, dude. It may banner shield, popping it, blocking, got the Ursa going on, got orb creation, got auto reloading for your teammates. What's the damage buff from Well? Well is 25%, right? I mean the question is why would you use Well? If I'm granting you an overshield with my banner shield, I'm also giving you auto reload for your weapons. And I'm spitting out tons of orbs to you, but you lose DPS. That is true. That is true. But what if you have a shitty teammates who can't do any damage, right? What if they're just bad? What if they're bad? Put them on Ursa, right? Everyone has that one guy. Now they have a job. I think Bungie should always have a job for those individuals. You know what I'm saying? Those individuals. All right, Arc Striker. Looking at Fist of Havoc DPS, it could use a damage boost. We've added a simple mini game to the attacks to show it some love. So Fist of Havoc super, line attacks now increases the next heavy attack's damage. Let's just be clear, it's terrible. Like right now, like I hope this is good, but right now, has anybody actually popped a Fist of Havoc in-game? You're tickling enemies. So hopefully this buff is substantial. All right, Stasis Behemoth. The recent Howl of the Storm changes have landed well, but it's dealing a little too much sustained DPS in some cases, outclassing every other ability in the game when used during super, hence the 1 PvE nerf we mentioned earlier. So Howl of the Storm aspect, when used during super, increase super energy costs from 5 to 15%. Damn, there it is. I figured we were going a little too ham with it. It's good. It melts everything. It melts everything. Strand Berserker. This PvP only changes to Banner Wars is a response to player feedback that Banner War's melee damage bonus is oppressive to fight against. So Banner War aspect, melee damage bonus against players now scales with stacks instead of always being at full strength. Oh, shit. Note, unarmed melees can now one-shot players at 2 stacks with 200 melee stats or at 3 stacks with base stats. Ooh, what does this mean? Am I not going to be able to one-tap anymore with a glaive? Does this ruin our glaive build? Essentially, if you rock a glaive, you get 1 stack of banner, you go to Pound Town. It's one tap everywhere. Everybody gets 1 tap. Learn to shoot your guns. A glaive is a gun. Thank you very much. Does it not shoot a projectile? All right, general abilities. There are several little buffs here, and we'll add commentary where necessary. Void suppressor grenades no longer suppresses the user. Oh my god. What the fuck? After 11 years, increase detonation damage by 10%. Spike grenades now attaches to combatants. Oh, unicorn that ass. Okay. Void fragments reduce the negative stat on Echo of Undermining from -20 to -10. Echo Provision now grants +10 grenade stat. Echo of Exchange now grants +10 melee stat. Remove negative stats from all other fragments except Echo Starvation and Echo of Persistence. Note, Void have more negative stats than the other damage types, so we eased up on the penalties. Our goal for subclass build crafting is that there should be a clear trade-off without feeling punitive. Invisibility. Updated visuals to be slightly more visible in the Crucible. Note, this is a response to Crucible feedback that invisibility is too effective. Good. My eyes can't discern anymore. I don't know what happened after my 3rd child. Invisibility. I mean, you really are invisible to me. I can't see you. I can't see you for shit. Overshield. Enemy VFX now scales with the overshield's remaining health. Note, this was added to allow players to eyeball how much overshield an enemy has before deciding to engage. That's a good change. Arc Lightning Grenade now attaches to combatants. Good. Does it just bounce off? Okay. Flashbang Grenade no longer blinds the user, increases detonation damage by 10%. Oh, okay. So just like suppressor grenades. Strand Threadlings. Threadlings that lose their target before impact will land and look for another combatant instead of exploding. Oh, thank God. Note, this will reduce the cases where your big gang of Threadlings all explode on a single drag. The result is that they feel smarter and more alive. Wow. That's all, folks. Renegades is right around the corner, and we hope you're excited to start playing these sandbox changes. As we mentioned earlier, we'll also have significant changes and additions in Shadow and Order and beyond, so keep the feedback coming. Well, largely, these were all massive buffs. I mean, major buffs. And we're about to hit a level of power creep like never before. But you know what? Let's see if Bungie's got content that's going to challenge us. Maybe they'll have content that will actually challenge all these changes. No, these are massive buffs here, guys. Massive changes, good changes. Even the things that I'm going to cry about. The banner changes that needed to happen. Some changes are okay. Most are weak as Oh, God, dude. only the Destiny community would look at something and be like 216%. Really? That's it, Bungie? It could have been 300%.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.